Last time I gave this very pink J1 a -3 out of 10 because even though this is very fun to shoot with, like this, and it can produce pretty nice images, like this, the body and lenses are known to fail and break itself. And since
you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy,
I decided to get something light enough for me to throw, like this S1 here. It's light and green as a leaf, even has my logo on it. How did that happen? But more importantly, this was released 2 years after the J1, which means the reliability issue should have been solved by now. Knowing this gave me a peace of mind. Peace, just like this place where I'll be reviewing it in. One of the most scenic places in China, and where Goku grew up. But more than that, this place holds karmic spirituality like you wouldn't believe. You'll see. Now, while all of the J1's lenses tend to break, the S1 came with a new kit lens that's been redesigned. An 11 to 27.5mm instead of a 10 to 30. It loses the vibration reduction function, but if it's reliable, that's a trade-off I'm happy to make. So let's see what it looks like when you take a picture. It's broken. It's the same aperture issue. The aperture still gets stuck midway and won't open. I am so incredibly fine with this. What, do you think this is the first time I've turned on a camera? On location, on the first day of the shoot? Please give me some credit. The reason why I'm not frustrated is because I've been hiding a secret feature of the Nikon One system from you ever since Shanghai. And the secret is the Nikon FT1 adapter. It allows us to use over 450 tried and true Nikon F-mount lenses, and it'll even autofocus with the G variants. And that's awesome because that means I can use my beautiful large aperture lenses without having to struggle with manual focus because the depth of field is so shallow. Well, let's see what we can do. I said no, I didn't say yamete kudasai, I said yamete kudasai. I hate this editor. I hate this system. So it turns out the FT1, like my editor, it's a bit finicky sometimes. But clean the contacts and wiggle it a bit, and it usually works fine. To calm myself down, I decided to meditate at the Rice Terrace. This has always been on my bucket list and the way there was absolutely beautiful. A couple of scenic hours through mountains and creeks. The air cooled off and so did my 360 camera when it took a little dip in the water. I made some friends during the lunch break. They taught me some Chinese and I showed them how to fly a drone. And even got some sexy ladies to dance for the camera. They were so freaking awesome. Kinda like the first impression of the S1 with my 1.4 lens. The colors from my 24mm 1.4 were really nice. This was after all one of my favorite lenses. With the magnification of the tiny sensor, this wide-angle lens turned into a semi-portrait lens, giving us blurry backgrounds wide open. Although it does mean increasing the weight of my camera gear while jumping down the terrace steps. And yeah, the steps were taller than I thought they would be. But this turned out to be a wonderful warm-up place for the S1 and the F-mount lenses. And yes, it's definitely worth visiting. Warm-up over, the next day I went to see some of the most beautiful mountains. And immediately built up my karma by not flying my drone next to the paramotorist. It would have made for a nice cinematic shot, but remember what Confucius said, do not do unto others what you don't want done to yourself. It's not worth killing someone if you accidentally fly your drone into the parachute causing them to crash. Don't be a dumb tourist. Karma build, I was immediately rewarded with a hole. I love those things. Fun fact, I'm really good with holes. I'm like a pro when it comes to fitting big things through small holes. Let me demonstrate. But apparently I'm not so experienced when it comes to fitting small things inside big holes, because as the drone penetrated the threshold, it lost connection and crashed. It managed to send back these low-res footages, but there was no way to retrieve it because they had closed the mountain path that day. But karma has a funny way of expressing itself. Once again, Confucius' famous words echoed in my head. When the world fails you, be the drone you want to see in the hole. Bruh. And so I did. I have becometh human drone. was pure magic. My god, that was probably the absolute best way to see the mountains. Hands down. It was so awe-inspiring I almost teared up at one point. It was even better than paragliding in Zermatt.
Paramotoring definitely wasn't on my list until I crashed my drone.
There were no DJI stores in Guilin. I even tried to find a drone operator to get me some B-rolls. And to be frank, I was concerned about safety because China is such a drone-dense country.
To get on the flight, I actually had to convince myself that Karma would have had my back.
Thank you, karmic spirit of Guilin.
Confucius nailed it when he said, "There is no courage without fear. To be brave, you must first overcome being a pussy." Also, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. So subscribe, like, comment, do the algo things because I risk my life and my drone for this shit. Thank you. Ow.
After being in the air, my feet were yearning for some solid ground. So I immediately stepped onto a raft and went down the river. Let's see how the camera handles during high stakes situations. Like the J1, it too can shoot 60 frames per second raw, so action shots are a breeze. What isn't as breezy is holding it.
The body is a bit shorter than the J1, so there's less room to hold onto it. And because it's made of plastic, it's a bit squeaky. I didn't like holding this as much as I like holding the J1. There's still no touchscreen, so at least I can place my thumb anywhere. But also, that means there's less real estate for buttons. And that means there's no way for you to lock focus and exposure, which is crazy. It's awkward to use even in playback.
To zoom in on a photo, you have to press the center button and then use the scroll wheel, and then you can look at different parts of the photo. Here we have the blue transmetal rat trap. But if there's a face in your photo, you can zoom in and then you can only lock onto the face. Even Markiplier seems confused about this. I mean, what if instead of her face, I wanted to look down at her, comment section? Why would you deprive me of that? On top of that, the detection is so shoddy. I mean, what face do you see on her shoulder? And then sometimes there are two big faces there and it just simply won't detect them. It didn't work for this photo, nor did it work for this photo. Worked for this one, but that's like a third of the time. It makes both the controls and menu less user-friendly than the J1,
or many other cameras.
Being plastic also meant it was more prone to scratches. And if you're wondering why I got to sit with two different ladies during the ride, let's just say what happens on the river raft stays on the river raft. Actually, staying on the raft was slightly more difficult than it looked because, man, it does get a little rough. I scuffed my S1 while fumbling on there. To cover the scratches, I asked one of my factories to laser my logo on it.
Confucius once said, "If it ain't broke, but it's scratched so it's harder to sell, just laser your own logo on it." Yeah.
Before heading back to the city, I went up the Husband Mountain
to try my manual focusing fisheye turned wide angle.
And the screen wasn't really that bright and it made it a little hard to manual focus with. The Nikon One system definitely prefers user to do autofocus since this broken kit lens also doesn't come with a manual focus ring. But damn, what a view. No camera can capture what you can see with your own eyes anyway. Despite losing the drone, safe to say that the day was ultimately won. But what happens when night falls? Well, you get to visit the alleys of Guilin, which was spectacular. There's food everywhere and lots of girls doing photo shoots in heritage clothing, which meant I get to sneak my own shots to test the S1. Also, what the hell is that, an alpaca? That was the softest thing I've ever touched.
That's not what she said.
The J1 already had great noise performance in Shanghai, but the S1 removes the anti-aliasing filter for even sharper results. Pair that tiny sensor with my massive f1.4 lens, me likey. It made noise extra manageable because you don't have to dial up the ISO, and the dynamic range was surprisingly good as well.
At this point I have to come clean. Although the images from the camera in combination with the F lenses are very pleasant, if you pixel peep, you'll see that the images aren't as sharp as if you had used one of these with a full frame camera.
And it's not really the S1's fault. Yes, the F lenses are compatible with the S1, but it wasn't made for it.
Full frame lenses aren't designed to focus all their resolving power onto a tiny 1-inch sensor. Squeezing all that light onto a target 2.7 times smaller than a full frame sensor just amplifies the microscopic flaws of the lens. It proves how impressive that tiny sensor is, but it just won't give you that professional sharpness.
It's more than enough for casual travel photos, but you won't shoot a wedding with it.
Overall, this is a good little camera that can generate impressive images. But with the infamous kit lens breakage issue and me mounting these big lenses on it, it just doesn't feel like a complete package. Yeah, it's cute.
I like the pop-up flash in a cool color, but the watered-down controls and the lack of more advanced features like interval time shooting
Makes it feel like it can't quite keep up. And here's where it loses some more points.
Startup speed is a bit slow. The autofocus with these lenses with shallow depth feels kind of hit and miss. The auto exposure movie mode aggressively steps up and down instead of having smooth brightness adjustments, which is pun intendedly a step down from the J1.
The S1 then is another frustrating chapter for the Nikon 1 system. Yes, the body is now more reliable than the pink J1, but it feels cheaper. The controls are not nearly as good, and the body color matching kit lens still self-destructs, which renders its aesthetics useless. I actually much prefer the pink J1, but this gets 1 extra point for not having a self-destructive motherboard. -2 out of 10. If the lens didn't break, +4 out of 10, because it would have been a nice fun piece of kit which allows you to mostly take advantage of all the Nikon lenses out there.
The real winner of this review is Guilin. What a fantastic, beautiful, fun place. It's both serene and lively. It'll simultaneously starve you of your breath and fill your stomach with street food. It's a place so nice, I've visited twice. The second time around, I bought a new drone and the girl with me. Maybe one day I'll do a quick guide on this place, but for now, Guilin sits high on my travel list. A totally worthwhile 8.8 out of 10.
As Confucius once said, if you ain't been to Guilin, you're probably a Guilo. I'll let you figure out that one yourself, and let me know in the comments your favorite Confucius saying. Coming up, the finale of the Northern Lights overlanding trip in a really cool car. See ya! Done. Woo! Hot in here. Don't do unto others what you don't want to do. What? Also, you scratch my back, I scratch my back, you scratch mine, so subscribe.